Muppets Now is the Muppets' newest series since 2015 and the first sketch series since Muppets Tonight in 1996, if I'm not mistaken. This show also has the unique distinction of being the first improv series. Improv in quotes. There's still planning involved, but there's a good amount of on-the-fly situations. It's generally pretty funny. A typical episode usually has 4 segments connected by Scooter trying to upload the sketches while being plagued with various problems, like lack of sleep or constant interruptions. The show has 6 different segments, including Lifestyle with Miss Piggy in every episode, Okie Dokie Cookin' in 5 of the 6 episodes, Muppet Masters in 2 episodes, Mupp Close and Personal in 3 episodes, Muppet Labs Field Test in 5 episodes, and Pepes' Unbelievable Game Show in 3 episodes. Now that they've been introduced, here are my top 6 segments of Muppets Now. Starting at number 6, Muppet Labs Field Test. Now just know I don't hate any of these, I just like some more than others. But what puts Muppet Labs Field Test at the bottom is just the repetition of it. Every sketch is just a scientific exploration of different ways to destroy things, which, don't get me wrong, is fun. It just seems like there are more science-based situations that could be done than just destroying things. But the dynamic between Dr. Honeydew and Beaker is still as funny as ever. Number 5 is Okie Dokie Cookin'. This one is so low for a similar reason as Muppet Labs. It's repetitive in its concept, but with Okie Dokie Cookin', each sketch is able to differentiate itself from the other ones by the celebrity guests and the crazy ways Swedish Chef finds ways to make his meals. As a bonus, I also love cooking, so seeing all these different foods being prepared was very appealing. Number 4 is Lifestyle with Miss Piggy. My biggest problem with this one is just how recurring it is. This segment appears in every episode, and if 1 or 2 of its sketches were cut, they could have made room for the lesser represented segments, which I'll get to later. It also doesn't really help that the one segment that appears in every episode is the one that features the Muppet I'm getting most tired of. Sorry, I still like Miss Piggy, but in recent years, she feels like she's overshadowed the rest of the Muppets in popularity. Even Kermit has less screen time than her. There are just more Muppets that I'd like to see brought to the forefront a little bit more. Now, at number 3, we have Pepes' Unbelievable Game Show. The thing about this segment is that the game show has no rules, so anything can happen, which makes it not as repetitive as Muppet Labs. If anything, I think the biggest problem is just that Scooter is the producer, and he's also the bridge between segments. I love Scooter, he's one of my favorite Muppets, but it's just a lot of him when the producer could have been Kermit or something. And I know I've been complaining a lot about having too much of certain characters, but there are a lot of Muppets, and I just want to see them all represented. Also, Miss Piggy makes an appearance in this segment in episode 3. Now onto the final 2. At number 2 we have Mupp Close and Personal. This is the best type of sketch to have the improv format. Just a Muppet and a celebrity talking, while also sprinkling in crazy antics. It's also a great way to have different Muppets featured. Of the 3 sketches this season, 1 was hosted by Kermit, 1 was hosted by Miss Piggy, you already know what I'm thinking so I'm not going to say it, and 1 was hosted by Fozzie, who was severely underrepresented in season 1, only having 2 other appearances during episode 1's Mupp Close and Personal segment, and during the Scooter Bridge sections in episode 2. Anyway, as this is also an interview segment, each celebrity has a different way of bringing about the comedy bits, which makes for very unique sketches. And finally, my favorite segment, unfortunately with the least amount of sketches, Muppet Masters. First things first, it's hosted by Walter. Ever since Muppets 2011, Walter's been one of my new favorite Muppets. I thought he would be in the Muppets 2015 series, as the advertising would lead you to believe, but unfortunately, he wasn't in it, so it's good to see him again. The segment itself makes the top of the list simply for being the most open for uniqueness in each sketch, which is why it's a shame that it was only in 2 episodes. In Muppet Masters, Walter interviews various Muppet characters about their secret hobbies and talents. In episode 1, it was Kermit, and in episode 5, it was Uncle Deadly. For one thing, each episode has a different Muppet at the forefront, more representation for the various Muppet cast. Then, each Muppet has a unique talent, which means each sketch can be as different from the last one as possible. And then, you have the funny stuff in between, with things like the dynamic between Walter and the interviewee. It's just a shame how this segment was featured only twice, because there's so much potential for future sketches. Now before I wrap this up, I want to address apparently the only thing people can talk about in regards to Muppets Now. Kermit has a new voice.
It's time for the old do not try this at home routine from our lawyer Joe.
Yes, a deposition, a party, the first part, habeas corpus,
Not a lot of stage presence, but really good at legal disclaimers.
Yes, in 2017, Disney fired Kermit's previous performer, Steve Whitmire, because according to Brian Henson, he had been getting harder to work with, even since the late 90s. He said he made a lot of demands and played brinkmanship. He also claims he should have fired him before the Muppets were sold to Disney in 2004. After Steve's firing, he was replaced with Matt Vogel, to a very unwelcoming reception. Now listen, if what Brian Henson claims is true, Steve should not have behaved that way. It was very unprofessional. And on the other side of the argument, Disney's decision to fire him came out of nowhere with no prior warning, and that was pretty unprofessional as well. But the problem is that everyone seems to be mad at Matt Vogel, when they should be, 1, mad at Disney, and 2, at least give him a chance. He was replaced in 2017 with nothing but YouTube videos and cameos since. This is the first actual budgeted production to feature Kermit since his recast, so just give him a chance to prove himself a little. So people are angry that Kermit's voice is different, but here's the thing. Steve Whitmire's voice was different from Jim Henson's Kermit voice, and I'm sure if there was Twitter then, people would have lost their minds.
Why are there so many songs about rainbows?
Why are there so many songs about rainbows?
Some people are also acting as if Disney just pulled some random guy off the street to do a Kermit impression, but fail to realize that Matt Vogel has been a Muppet performer for years. He's the current performer for Big Bird, the Count. He right-handed for Jerry Nelson for years. He plays Floyd Pepper, Camilla, Lou Zealand, Uncle Deadly, and so many others. Hell, he even played Constantine in Muppets Most Wanted. He went from playing imposter Kermit to real Kermit. He's an incredible performer, and it sucks that people are so hung up on him replacing Kermit, just because his voice is slightly different than another performer they liked. Puppeteering is so much more than just impressions. Otherwise, it's just voice acting. You're trying to bring to life an inanimate object using your arms, hands, and sometimes your voice. It's more complicated than it looks. I'm sorry that went on for so long. Matt Vogel isn't even my favorite Kermit, but the general reaction has been so unfair to him I just had to say something. Anyways, let's wrap this up with my wish list for Season 2. If they even get a Season 2. Please give them a Season 2. Wish number 1. More representation to the extremely broad Muppets cast. Even some of the more popular Muppets like Gonzo were left as cameos in Season 1. So what I want for Season 2 is for them to find more ways to incorporate other characters. I want more Gonzo, I want the Electric Mayhem, I want more Link Hogthrob, who showed up in Season 1, now performed by Peter Linz. I want Ralph, I want, I don't know. Comment down below what other Muppet characters you want to see more of in Season 2. Wish number 2. More variety in the segments. You have 6 episodes, each with 4 segments, and you still have segments like Muppet Masters only getting done twice, and segments like Lifestyle with Miss Piggy getting done every episode. So there needs to be a little more organization in what segments are chosen, and how many times they're shown. Wish number 3. I want each sketch within a segment to find new ways to differentiate itself from the other ones. I'm more so talking about Muppet Labs, but the other segments can take note as well. Maybe change up the format of the sketch a little, just make each sketch unique. And wish number 4, I think there should be more than 6 episodes. I don't necessarily want them to drop any of the more heavily represented Season 1 segments, but I would like them to add more. And if you want to do more of the Season 1 segments, as well as add new ones, you need more episodes. Give them at least 8, and we'll see how that works. And that's it. Overall, Muppets Now is a generally funny show, but slightly mismanaged. With a little more organization, it could become the best Muppets project in years. I hope they get a Season 2. At least one Muppets project will. Never forgive what you did, Netflix. Anyways, let me recommend you 2 things before I leave. The first thing is Matt Vogel's new podcast, Below the Frame, where he talks with various Muppet performers and crew about how they got into puppetry and started working at Henson. Interesting stuff. And the other thing I want to recommend is Earth to Ned on Disney+. It's about an alien named Ned who is sent to Earth to scout for an invasion, but instead becomes obsessed with pop culture and hosts a talk show where he interviews celebrities. I didn't realize this was a Henson project when I first saw it, but apparently it is. I love when studios try out new things, so definitely try and support this. But that's all I wanted to say. Listen to Below the Frame, watch Earth to Ned, and of course, watch Muppets Now. See you later.
What a thrill! The star who has all of Tinseltown green with envy! We're here! The Muppets have arrived at the Disney MGM Studios theme park. Meet Kermit, Fozzie Bear, Miss Piggy, and all your Muppet favourites as they come to permanently leave their mark in this spectacular world of glitz and glamour.
Hey, everybody, it's time to do the show.
Here come the Muppets, only at the Disney MGM Studios theme park.